How many of you can relate to hunting a small property? Last week, I went to a client's in southern Michigan and was able to help consult them on this small 5-acre property. Now, 5 acres is extremely small, but it is big enough to be able to hunt deer and harvest deer. I have personally killed the largest deer I've ever killed on 7 acres. And this previous year in 2023, harvested a nice mature buck on 14 acres. So 5 acres is doable. You're not able to work with a lot there. You can't do a whole lot. You can't spread yourself out a lot just due to limited space. But you can make any 5 acres out there better than it currently is right now. If you implement the right strategic plan and be able to show the landowner how to use it the proper way to let the deer feel safe, give them some reasons to come along. I'd like to show you guys a recent plan here. So what we got going on here is this is south, north, west, and east. Here's the road up along here, and they got the driveway goes way back off the road. This is a long, narrow strip. We've got woods all the way along this side here to the west. You've got woods all the way along this side to the south. There's a small 10-acre ag field over here to the west. And then there's big ag to the east. Lots of ag to the east. And a big giant ag field to the north across the road. So you have a lot of travel going through here. You got a lot of movement coming from the north to the south across the road. You got a decent amount of movement in and out and around through the ag. And you got a lot of movement up and through the woods, through the neighbors, and down to the ag field below. Due to the fact that his house and barn are all the way off the road, what we were able to do was set to hunt, obviously, between the road and the house. So there's already a pipeline, underground pipeline blazed through here, and there's nothing growing there. There's nothing of any trees or anything. There's lots of grass and weeds, but there's no thick cover through there. The pipeline company has came through in recent years and have cleared that out. So what I've come up with here is for a food plot to come right in like this and do an L shape. So this food plot is only going to approximately be maybe between 1/4 and 1/2 an acre is all the bigger that food plot's going to be. But what we also got is we got an opportunity here to put a nice water hole right here. The customer already has a 150-gallon plastic water hole that is going to be installed below level. So that way the rain can wash off into it. So you're going to dig it down in the ground and put this water hole in down below the grade so all the water can catch inside of it, so that he's less likely to have to fill this water tank up throughout the year. Now, I've also recommended that he plants a little strip of clover, maybe 5 foot around the edge of that, just to help with the EHD and the midge, just keep any kind of mud down from growing. The deer will use it, that's for sure, but that's something I do on all my water holes, is I put a little bit of clover around them, just to keep it from getting muddy and dried up, especially right after the fact that they've been put in. And here in late January, you know, obviously he's not too worried about it, but this spring can do some frost seeding, some clover into that. What we've also got going on here is we've got a logging road, because this woods has been logged out. And so we got a logging road that goes up through the heart of the woods, turns out and comes out by the parking lot here for the house. Now, most of the time he's going to be hunting this with a west wind. What we've got going on here is we've been able to locate a perfect tree stand location right there where he can come park at his house, leave his house in the morning, the evening, walk right down his driveway, and access right in off of the driveway. It's only going to be, I think, about 30-yard walk off of the driveway into the tree stand right there. And this guy is going to be a crossbow hunter and a gun hunter. He's just getting into crossbow. And with that crossbow and the yardage here, he will be able to shoot this entire food plot. This outside edge here will be a little bit further towards the edge of his range. And then you'll have the water hole right here. And we will also be installing a mock scrape right beside it. There will be a mock scrape right there. There's some perfect trees to be able to have a cell camera to be able to catch the corner of the food plot, this L shape, along with catch the mock scrape and the water hole. I'm extremely excited about how this all sets up. Like I said, this was all just regular hardwoods here in the Midwest that got logged out about 3 years ago now, is what he told me. And so this is very thick brush through here, but we did not want to encourage any bedding between the tree stand and the house and the barn, just because of how small the property lays. We didn't feel like there would be a good of opportunity to have bedding up there and be able to walk down and not push deer out. Also, by not promoting bedding into the core of the property here, it allows you to hunt with a northerly wind up along the driveway. Now, the nice thing I like about this stand is it sets up for a lot of winds because you got the road right here. And so you can actually hunt this with a southwest wind cutting across the drive. You can hunt it with a straight west, northwest. Obviously, you would not want to hunt this with any kind of easterly wind. Due to the fact that it's such a small property, we elected on just one stand site. Just felt like it would be best if he stayed out of the core area here. Most of the deer will be coming off of the neighbor's timber, coming into the food plot. That's one thing he's got that the neighbors do not have. They don't have secluded food. They just have great big ag fields that are wide open from the roads and from the neighborly houses. And so with him having this secluded food, we're also going to be putting a strip of switchgrass along this outside edge to block the view from the driveway and from the road. And then also another row of switchgrass along this edge to block the view to the neighbors. Since there is an underground pipe there, it's wide open across property lines. So we want to seclude that off from the neighbors, make these deer feel safe as they are feeding into this nice little food plot here. We don't want them feeling the pressure of them driving up and down the driveway. Yes, there's a good chance if there's deer in here that you drive up the driveway. If it's summertime, they'll probably stand there and look at you. If it's hunting season, we're hoping all they do is just scurry off a little ways, wait for you to get past, and then go right back to either getting a drink or getting something to eat. What we are going to do, though, is we're going to come in here and we're going to make a bedding area up on this hill. And that will be consistent of mostly taking down a lot of mature cherry. There was a lot of mature cherry in there. And then also hinge cutting some smaller maples. And also getting rid of some middle-sized walnuts. Mostly just the ones that are wide and have no board per foot value. So with this being the way this sets up, this is a hillside between the food and the road here. This is all a hill. So these deer can bed up on the corner of this hill overlooking that way. They will not be able to see over towards the tree stand very well at all, especially while being bedded. And we're going to go ahead and screen off the food plot all the way along this side. And we're also going to screen off the food plot all the way along this side, like so. There will also be some additional screening right here in front of the tree stand to allow the hunter access to be able to come in off the driveway undetected in case there is deer bedded up on this little hillside. I don't anticipate that you would be able to climb in and out of the stand if there's deer in the food plot, but you could definitely get in and out of that stand if there was deer in this bedding area over here. So I'm extremely excited to see how this will work out for him. He's hunted it 3 years in a row as is. He's very limited on his time. He's told me he's maybe hunted it 10 times in the last 3 years, but he's only actually seen deer on 2 sits. I told him I feel very confident with this plan that we've put in place that he will be able to see way more deer on way more often sits. And be able to put meat in his freezer. He's not necessarily worried about trophy buck hunting. Yes, he would love to shoot a nice buck for the area, but he's realistic with how much time he has. And that's why he's going to start crossbow hunting, so he can get in the woods more often. And by doing so, he should be able to double the amount of sits he can get in yearly, which then greatly increases his odds on filling his freezer for him and his family. And I think with this very simple plan on a very small property, that he will be able to reach his goals of filling his freezer in 2024 and going forward.